The Catechism of Perseverance. Course 1, Chapter 28. The Messiah promised and prefigured. Ninth figure of the Messiah, the Manna. Sixth promise, BC 1491. Question: what was the first miracle wrought by the Lord in favor of his people when he brought them out of Egypt? Answer: the first miracle wrought by the Lord in favor of his people in bringing them out of Egypt was the pillar of fire. A luminous pillar by night and a cloud by day, it directed the march of the people and marked the places of their stopping. This miracle continued during the 40 years the Israelites were in the desert. Question: did this miracle continue a long time? Answer: this miracle continued during 40 years, that is, as long as the Israelites were in the desert. Question: what was the second miracle of the Lord in favor of his people? Answer: the second miracle of the Lord in favor of his people was the passage of the Red Sea. Pharaoh repented of having let the Hebrews depart and set out in pursuit of them with his army. At the command of Moses, the waters of the Red Sea divided and left a dry passage for the children of Israel. The Egyptians followed them, but the waters, at the command of Moses, resumed their course and swallowed up all the Egyptians. Question: what was the third miracle of the Lord in favor of his people? Answer: the third miracle of the Lord in favor of his people was the manna. Question: what was the manna? Answer: the manna was a miraculous food which fell every morning around the camp of the Hebrews. It consisted of small white particles and was very hard. It was gathered each day early in the morning and had a delicious taste. Question: why all these miracles? Answer: all these miracles had for their object to show the Israelites and the heathen nations that the Lord was the only true God and the sole master of nature. Question: was the manna a figure of the Messiah? Answer: the manna is the ninth figure of the Messiah. The manna was a food which fell from heaven. Our Lord in the Holy Eucharist is the living bread descending from heaven. The manna supplied the place of other food. The Holy Eucharist is the bread by excellence and suffices for all the wants of our soul. The manna ceased when the Hebrews entered the land of promise. The Holy Eucharist will cease when we shall have entered into heaven. That is, we shall see, face to face, God whom we now receive under the sacramental veil. Question: what is the sixth promise of the Messiah? Answer: the Israelites, trembling at the foot of Mount Sinai, implored Moses to speak to them, himself instead of the Lord, whose majesty they could not sustain. The Lord then said to Moses, "They have spoken all things well. I will raise them up a prophet out of the midst of their brethren, like to thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak all that I shall command him." This prophet, full of meekness, is the Messiah. 'Tis thus St. Peter explains this promise of God to Moses.